Good afternoon. Today we are working on PO62. I can solve equations with variables on both sides. So far we've been working with variables on just one side. You will notice that there is a part 1 and a part 2. The part 2 is just extra work problems. Like with the PO60, I went and got the practice work to give us extra practice at it. That's what the part 2 is. It's just more of the exact same, giving us some more practice so we can really get good at it. So we know that we have math today, a PO today, a PO tomorrow. So we have PO62, PO63, and that's it for our POs for this objective. So what we're doing with the part 2 of this, that is just going to be the work pages. You're going to do that on your own time, and you will have until next week, Wednesday, we'll correct that part 2. Okay, so when you have extra time, you're working on PO62 part 2 as your practice to make sure you understand it so you're ready for the test, because Wednesday will be a review day next week. Tuesday or Thursday will be the practice test. Next week, Friday, is our real test. This week, we have a PO today, a PO tomorrow. Wednesday and Thursday, we're reviewing stuff for the math testing. Stuff like triangles and shapes and how we work with those, because we haven't gotten to those units yet, so we're going to cover some geometry. We're going to remember stuff that we did in 5th grade. We're going to go over stuff that we did at the beginning of the year, working with those negative numbers. So Wednesday and Thursday of this week are review days. Friday is a retake day. No school on Monday. I work Monday because it's a staff day. You do not have school on Monday because it's a staff work day. So let me just double check that I've got that right, because everybody seems surprised. No, next week, Monday, May 6th, is a staff work day for us to work on stuff. I'm recording. So Tuesday is the math test. Wednesday is our review of the unit next week. Thursday, practice test. Friday is the test. You don't ever have to. So let's look at PO62. I can solve equations with variables on both sides. So like I've been telling us, every objective here is a PO, and they all deal with those little details. People are getting those details wrong. People are getting those details. They're missing stuff. Oh, negative numbers. Oh, opposite operations. Oh, how do I combine those like terms? We're missing key things. On the math test next week, they check for those details. So at the beginning of the year, I was telling you, write out your steps. And I keep coming back to that, and people keep trying to do the mental math with it. Our math is getting more and more complicated, and when we don't write it out step by step and really think through each step we're doing, we go too fast and we're making mistakes. So let's really practice going slow and doing it correctly. All right, so variable on both sides. Our goal is to move all variables to one side using opposite operations. So variables on one side, what do you think is going to be on the other side of the equal sign? Matthew? The constant. So we're gonna have it mixed with variables and constants on both sides of that equal sign, and we're gonna move it so the variables on one side and the constants on the other side. So you can say n equals this number. So when moving terms from one side to the other, remember to combine like terms only. We cannot combine a lamp with a bed. Okay, you only combine those like terms. So, isn't a basketball score of 17-14 just like 3-0? Either way, one side has 3 more points. Likewise, 17x plus 1 equals 14x minus 6 is just like 3x plus 1 equals -6. One side has 3 more x's than the other side. So they moved that 14x over and combined it with the 17x using opposite operations. It was a positive 14x, so it had to become negative 14x. We subtracted 14x from each side, and we got 3x. So to finish this up, what would we do to find out what x equals? Madden?
Divide by 3.
Oh, before we can divide, what do we have to do, Gabe?
We do the 1 minus -6.
So we would have to subtract 1 from each side, because remember, Sadler, we do the subtraction or addition first. So that would give us 1 minus 1 leaves just 3x. -6 minus 6 would be -7. Then we divide it by that 3. And we would get x equals -7/3. Okay. So we're going to be doing all of these steps of things that we have just been working on. So let's do some together. So we're not learning new math. We're just putting it all together to do the next type of math, but nothing is new. We know how to do opposite operations. We know how to do combining like terms. We know how to do the distributive property. So we've been doing all of these. We're just putting them together. So let's look at this first one. 18x equals 14x plus 20. What is my first step? Dominic, tell me what my first step would be.
Let's see. You combine 18x and 14x.
You're right, we do need to combine my variable of x. How do I do that, Dominic? Because there's an equal sign separating them.
You subtract 14x.
I'm going to subtract 14x from both sides because I only want the x on one side. I already have one side that just has the x, so I'm going to bring the 14x over to that side. So 14x minus 14x cancels out. 18x minus 14x gives me what? 4x. Don't forget the x. Variables are important. Equals. So now I have 4x, and it equals positive 20. So if that had been a minus 20, that would have turned it into a negative. So you have to pay attention to those the pluses and the minuses. What's my next step? I've got my variable on one side, I've got my constant on the other side. Am I done? Grayson?
You have to put the x by itself.
Oh, I have to get x by itself. How do I do that, Grayson?
You divide 4 by 4 or 20 by 4.
Yeah, because it's 4 times x, I'm going to do the opposite operation of dividing by 4. So I get x equals 20 divided by 4, which is 5. Do I need to see all these steps?
Yeah.
It says show your work. My friends, this is a little bit easier to start with. Our math problems will get more complicated as we go through the work. I want you to show your work along the way. We are not doing mental math. No gold star for doing it in your head. I want to see your work. Maybe we'll get gold stars if we show every step of the process.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. We like gold stars.
Yeah.
Let's look at Let's look at the one on the bottom. So we did the first row, now let's do the first one of the next row. What should I do first? Claire,
You have to combine the 5 and the 2, so you add 5 and x. You minus.
so I heard you say add 5x and then I heard you say minus 5x. Which one is it? Why would I subtract 5x? Because there's a positive 5 right here, so if I'm going to move it, I need to do the opposite. So what is 2x minus 5x?
Negative 3x.
Negative 3x. I'm going to bring down that plus 1, and that equals 5x minus 5x cancels out. So what does it equal, Claire? Negative 14, because that minus 14 becomes negative 14. So now what's my next step? Madden?
Subtract 1 by 1 and then put 2 by 1.
Why would I subtract the 1? Why couldn't I add 14?
You want the variables on one side and a constant on the other.
Exactly. We want our variable on one side, so that means we need to move our constant to the other side of the equal sign. So we have a variable equals the constant. So Madden was absolutely correct. We have a plus 1, so I want to subtract 1. But every year I have kids that move the variable and the constant to the same side of the equal sign. They can't both be on the same side. We want variable on one side, constant on the other side. So negative 3x, 1 minus 1 cancels out. Negative 14 minus 1 equals what?
Negative 15.
What does negative 14 minus negative 1 equal?
Negative 15.
Negative 15. Am I done?
No.
What do I have to do? Gabe.
Negative 3 divided by negative 3 divided by negative 15.
I do not do negative 3 divided by negative 15.
The other way around. Sorry, yeah.
I have to do negative 3 divided by negative 3. It makes a difference. It matters the way we say things. So it's negative 3 divided by negative 3, negative 15 divided by negative 3. So negative 3 divided by negative 3 gives me a positive 1. What is negative 15 divided by negative 3? Were you being silly on purpose? Let's not be silly when we're in class. Addie. So positive 5. Negative divided by negative gives me my positive. 15 divided by 3 gives me the 5. Circle your final answer so we can see it. Notice how I'm writing right under each other. I'm keeping it organized because I'm telling you, when you get into higher level math classes, you need to stay very organized and precise so you don't lose where you're at. It is super easy to lose where we're at. Stay organized. Okay. If you want lined paper to help you stay organized, it's on the back counter. It's got holes so you can put it in your binder. If you need different paper to help you be organized, use it. If you can line it up as you're writing, that's great. If you need more room, you can use the paper on the back counter. You can use the paper, the blank sheet right next to where we're working on. Because I've been asking us not to doodle anymore. Yet I see lots of doodles on our work page. Any questions? So equations with variables on both sides can be used to compare two things, such as prices. So let's say a video streaming service offers two plans, $5 per movie or $3 per movie with a $20 monthly fee. How many movies would you need to watch each month for it to be cheaper to become a member. You have to think, what does my equation look like? If we look up here, equations with variables on both sides can be used to compare. So one plan would equal the other plan, right? How would I set that up? So you're gonna work on this and see if you can figure out how to set up that equation and how many movies. You need to figure out how many movies you need to watch each month for it to be cheaper to become a member. I'm not gonna walk us through how to do that. I want you to do it because on the math test next week, you have to use your prior knowledge to try to figure things out like that. Our second page, this time, it's a little more complicated. We've got the distributive step that we have to do. We've got more things we need to combine. So you have to go through every step. First step is the getting rid of the parentheses. Second step, combining like terms on the same side of the equal sign. Third step is putting variables on one side, moving constants to the other side, using opposite operations. So the first two are not opposite operations. Parentheses, not opposite. Combining like terms, not opposite. It's the third step where we put variables on one side and constants on the other side. That's when we start going into opposite operations. So let's do one together. What should I do as my first step? Grace. Parentheses. So that means I multiply 8 times n, 8 times the positive 3. So positive 8 times n is 8n. 8 times the positive 3 is positive 24. That equals 6n plus 46. Do I have like terms to combine on the same side of parentheses, or same side of the equal sign? No. So I'm going to go to step 3, because I don't have step 2 to do. I would combine like terms on the same side. I don't have any. Step 3. What do I do next? Jude.
You do 8 minus 6.
I want to move my 6n over to my 8n. So I'm going to subtract 6n from both sides. 6n minus 6n zeroes out, so I'm left with just that positive 46, or 46. I don't even have to put the positive. Here, 8n minus 6n is 2n plus 24. What is my next step? Grayson.
24 minus 24 and 26 minus 24.
I'm going to subtract that 24 out of both sides. So now I have variable on one side, constant on my other side. Am I done? Variable equals the constant. Lauren, what do I have to do?
Good afternoon.
I have to divide the 2 out from both
Thank you
sides.
for your attention to these Monday afternoon announcements. JV and varsity baseball has been canceled. Track practice has been canceled. Your parents have been notified, so no need to call them. They have all been told by the coaches, so you are all good there. Just don't go to practice. Tennis, you are still on because you can practice on the blacktop. You are going to meet your coaches just outside the office near the gym after school. Tennis is on. JV and varsity baseball is off. Thank you so much. And now, an important announcement. That's right, it's time for radio with DJ Mags and her counter kick partner, DJ Denise Lewis. Big time. Okay, here is the question of the day. In what country did the first Starbucks open outside of North America? So we know there's Starbucks in North America, but what country did Starbucks open outside of North America? We're looking for another country, not a continent, people, another country. We're gonna look for caller number 6. You're gonna dial 103 for the DoorDash. 103, caller number 6. Good luck.
So what should I Google?
Out of North America.
First country out of, she said North America or United States?
North Korea. It's North Korea.
Tokyo.
Which is what country? Japan. What number am I supposed to call?
103.
Google's our friend when we use it correctly. You're sure it was 103? Okay. So you can work on your problems while I'm sitting on hold.
Matthew, why don't you work on this? That was not
We have a winner, Mr. Rohr. Not only knows science, but he knows his Starbucks. Congratulations, Mr. Rohr. The answer was Japan. And now kids, you all have something to share with your parents that you learned today. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Okay, so remember all of our steps. First parentheses, then combining like terms, same side of the equal sign. Same side, same operation. Then moving variable to one side, constant to the other using opposite operation. You go to the opposite side of the equal sign. That's when you do opposite operation. Okay, you do your adding and subtracting, you do your multiplying or dividing. The next section on our paper says, notice how in the examples above, the number of variables on each side is different. Something kind of cool happens when there's the same number of variables on each side. So if we look at that, what happens when we have 8x minus 5 equals 8x plus 1? Well, I'm going to move that 8x over. If I subtract out 8x, and I subtract out 8x, I get a 0. Minus 5 equals positive. Does minus 5 equal plus 1? No! Oh my goodness. So this means there's a no solution. So when you have your variable gets subtracted down to 0, you can't say negative 5 equals plus 1. So you would say no solution. You're going to do the word problem on your own. Claire?
For the next one, it would be 7 equals 7. Would you still put your solution?
Very good point. What do you think we would put? If it's not a no solution. So, if we think about this, if we have x equals 1, so let's do x equals 2, we would have 6 plus 7 equals 7 plus 6. Okay, so let's do x equals 5. We would have 15 plus 7 equals 7 plus 15. Does it matter what we put in for x? We will get all solutions. So it's either going to be no solution or all solutions. Okay? All right, so you're going to work on this page. We are correcting this tomorrow. If you are listening at home, make sure you come see me if you have any questions. Have a wonderful day.